Everyone is screaming about elite strikers this summer. Šeško to United. Gyökeres to Arsenal. Chelsea throwing money at the next big number 9. Tottenham praying Richarlison finally turns into the player Brazil fans talk about. And meanwhile, a Brazilian striker is quietly outproducing half of them in Europe, with a profile that screams Premier League. And nobody's really talking about him. Igor Thiago. Why is he not in the conversation? Before we dive into that, if you like this kind of content, not just transfer gossip, but actually questioning the narratives and talking about what happens on the pitch, hit the like button and subscribe. This channel is for people who watch football with their brain on. If that's you, you're in the right place. Let's start with the basic question. Who actually is Igor Thiago, beyond the oh yeah, that Brazilian at Brugge? He's 23, Brazilian, a center forward who went the hard way. Not wonder kid hype. No big academy in Europe. He left Brazil, went to Bulgaria, fought his way through Ludogorets, and then exploded at Club Brugge. At Brugge, he's not just scoring. He's carrying an attack. League, Europe, doesn't matter. He's putting up numbers that stack up with the guys everyone labels elite. Double digits in the league, goals in Europe, leading the line every 3 days, taking contact, pressing like a madman, winning duels, and still finishing. And here's the key. He's not just a poacher. He's that annoying striker who never lets your center backs breathe. He's strong enough to play with his back to goal, mobile enough to attack the channels, aggressive enough to press high, and technically clean enough to link play. So ask yourself, if this exact player had come from an academy with hype, if his name was something like Thiago da Silva, ex-Palmeiras wonder kid, €70 million move at 19, would we be pretending he doesn't exist? Let's go club by club. Manchester United first. The obsession is Benjamin Šeško. And to be fair, Šeško is quality. Tall, fast, good movement, good finisher. But even Leipzig didn't fully trust him as the nailed-on number 9 all season. He was rotated, protected, developed. He's still a project. A very expensive project. United's reality? They don't need a project. They need a grown-up center forward who can suffer through bad spells, fight for long balls, press, link play, and still deliver 15 to 20 goals in a dysfunctional team. So here's the uncomfortable question. On current output, on current maturity as a number 9, is Šeško really that far ahead of Igor Thiago? Or is he just playing in a shinier league, with a shinier brand, under a shinier agency? Because if you strip away the Bundesliga and the Premier League tax, and just look at what you need from a striker at United, someone to be a reference point, someone to occupy 2 center backs, someone who doesn't hide when the team's playing badly, Igor Thiago ticks those boxes right now. Physically, he's already at Premier League level. Mentally, he's done the cold away day in Eastern Europe grind for years. He's had to prove himself without hype. That matters. So why is the conversation? Šeško for 70, 80, 90 million, and not. Could Igor Thiago give us 90% of that impact for half the price? Is it football analysis? Or is it just branding? Let's move to Tottenham. Richarlison is the perfect example of a player living off potential in moments. When he's on it, he looks like a monster, aggressive, emotional, relentless. When he's off it, he disappears for months. Postecoglou's system needs something very specific from the 9. Constant movement, aggressive pressing, ability to combine. You don't just stand in the box and wait. You have to be part of the construction and the destruction. And here's where Igor Thiago becomes really interesting. He already does that for Brugge. He's constantly involved in build-up. He drags center backs out of position. He works the channels, and he presses from the front with intensity. Tottenham right now are basically saying, we believe Richarlison will finally give us a full, consistent, elite season. Why? What evidence actually says that? If Spurs put Igor Thiago in that front line, with Son and Kulusevski around him, plus fullbacks flying forward, does anyone really think he wouldn't hit numbers? That he wouldn't give you the same chaos and aggression, but with more consistent penalty box presence? You're getting a younger player, hungrier, on an upward curve, who's been forced to develop his game through adversity instead of being protected by reputation. So again, if you're Tottenham, what makes more sense? Betting your entire attacking structure on a streaky Richarlison, or bringing in a guy like Igor Thiago, whose floor might actually be higher than Richarlison's average season. Now, Arsenal. The obsession here is Viktor Gyökeres. And look, Gyökeres is a beast. His season at Sporting is ridiculous. 40-plus goals, assists, total destruction of Portuguese defenses. He's powerful, explosive, insane in transitions, great at attacking space. Absolutely a top striker. But here's the nuance nobody wants to talk about. Sporting dominate their league. They control games, they live in the final third, they load the box. Gyökeres is elite, but he's also operating in a system designed to feed him constantly. Arsenal also dominate the ball, but the Premier League is not the Portuguese league. You're facing deeper blocks, better athletes, more compact defensive structures, and less space to run into. So if you're Arteta, what are you actually buying with 90 to 100 million on Gyökeres? Are you buying guaranteed translation of those numbers? Or are you buying the idea of a solution? Now compare the profile with Igor Thiago. He's also strong. He also attacks space. He also works like a dog without the ball. And he's playing for a Club Brugge side that, while dominant domestically, still has to suffer more in Europe, manage transitions more, except being second best in some games. His production, per minute, is competitive with some of these elite names. His physical profile absolutely works in England. And stylistically, he can do the dirty work that Jesus does, but with more pure nine behavior in the box. So is Gyökeres better than Igor Thiago today? Probably yes. But is he 3 times the price better? Is he 3 times the risk lower? Or are we just addicted to the name that's trending? Chelsea next. This is the club that's tried every version of a striker experiment and still hasn't learned the lesson. Now the talk is about guys like Delap, the raw, physical chaos striker. High potential, yes, but still basically unproven at the level Chelsea think they're at. Let's be honest. How many raw Premier League number 9s with potential have we seen? Most of them end up as squad players at mid-table clubs. Because potential isn't enough. You need a brain, you need structure, you need habits. Igor Thiago already has those habits. He's been the main man. He's dealt with expectation. He's learned how to be the reference point for a team with real pressure to win trophies and compete in Europe. So if you're Chelsea and you say you're building for the future, why are you gambling on someone like Delap over a 23-year-old who's already producing and still has upside? Is it actually about football? Or is it about signing the profile that looks good in a press release? Let's slow this down for a second, because this isn't just about Igor Thiago. This is about how we judge strikers in 2024. What even is an elite striker now? Is it the guy with the biggest transfer fee? The guy from the biggest league? The guy who trends on social media? Or the guy who simply, consistently, year after year, produces goals, chaos, and value? Even if he plays in a league most fans don't watch? We say football is global, but our scouting brains are still very local. Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, real football, Belgium, Portugal, Netherlands, farmer leagues, until one of those players arrives, explodes, and then suddenly everyone pretends they always rated him. How many times does this cycle have to happen before clubs and fans start looking at players like Igor Thiago differently? Because look at his pathway. He didn't blow up at 18. He wasn't protected by a super club academy. He had to learn the ugly side of being a 9, holding the ball under pressure, playing on bad pitches, fighting against low blocks with no help, then stepping up a level and doing it again. Those experiences create a different kind of striker. Not just talent, resilience. And when you drop that kind of mentality into a big club environment with better teammates, better service, better pitches, are we sure the ceiling is just decent? Or is there a chance there's a monster in there that we're ignoring because he doesn't fit the marketing story? So where does this leave us? I'm not saying Igor Thiago is guaranteed to be better than Šeško, Gyökeres, Richarlison, or Delap. Football doesn't work with guarantees. What I'm saying is this. On current production, on age, on profile, on mentality and career path, he has every right to be in the same conversation as these guys when big clubs go shopping for a striker. And yet he's not. The gap between how he plays and how he's perceived is massive. And that's where smart clubs make money. and dumb clubs burn it. So here's my question to you. If you're a fan of United, Arsenal, Spurs, or Chelsea, would you take Igor Thiago as your starting nine next season if it meant spending way less and building better around him? Or do you still only trust the elite names the media pushes at you? Tell me in the comments. Who would you rather see at your club? Šeško, Richarlison, Gyökeres, Delap, or Igor Thiago? And more importantly, why? If you enjoyed this kind of analysis, not just repeating hype, but actually challenging it, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. That's how you tell the algorithm you want more football content that treats you like you know what you're watching. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.